Oh, I am. It is comments.
Yeah. And then can you add the two that are on here?
The
senders.
Dumpling.
Dumpling, thank you. Yeah.
Oh,
I made it. Well, how do you distinguish between the
He was one of the doctors. The team, I keep making dollars.
I'll have to post a picture up later.
There's a lot of people on here. I'll just get it.
Is your husband back?
Yes.
Good.
Yes. Yes. I'm so very excited. All of them I have to do themselves.
You have a good holiday?
I do. How chores.
Yeah.
Is that?
Let's go. I read for fun. I don't have to do that anymore.
I know. I read pretty well. I was very excited.
I read a trashy British novel by Andrew Morton. I don't know why I don't. Like I was halfway through, I'm like, how the hell did I get here? But it was fun.
That's a feeling.
Slattish, Toronto, Thompson.
Man, this is very crazy. It's not salacious.
Yeah.
Slides, rank, not running. I'm trying to remember their names. I don't know who Slattish is or Corkish is there. I don't know who that is, but we're gonna figure it out.
I'm at first, so I just like, I don't know. It's just like I'm random.
Yesterday I forwarded them. I was supposed to send them audio. I don't know. Did you see that?
I did.
So, I admire you. Yeah. We don't need it.
Yeah.
Who sold the other one?
Yeah. No. Did you get my message? Was it in the RNA? No, just you. No. Anything close? I did not. I covered it up there. Oh wait, I covered it up there. Is that double chin with shell with bits? Are you? I am. Down here, I'm over there.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's cool.
Public commentary. We have a lot of public commentary.
Yeah.
Really? Is that like on the?
Okay.
But it's surprised. It seems there's stuff she would just give us. At least I don't know. With that, I don't know. I don't have that much. I'm not insulting her. She just bears totally tears up. I know she does. I just thought she is.
I call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Secretary David, will you please take the roll?
Senator Anderson?
Here.
Senator Brennan?
Here.
Senator Borgasani?
Here.
Senator Corkish?
Here.
Senator Janelle?
Here.
Senator Flanagan?
Here.
Senator Fulton?
Here.
Senator Glucker?
Excuse me.
Senator Gregory?
Here.
Senator Hahn?
Here.
Senator Hurley?
Here.
Senator Jimmy?
Excuse me.
Senator Johnston?
Present.
Senator Kalande?
Here.
Senator Kiefer?
Here.
Senator Medina?
Here.
Senator Nelson?
Here.
Senator Ream. Senator Rink.
Here.
Senator Sladish.
Here.
Senator Tarallo.
Present.
Senator Thompson.
He's no longer on. Sorry.
Senator Wilmes.
Here.
Business Manager Parsons.
Yep.
Vice President Hanley.
Here.
President Belcher. Here.
All right. So with that is done, we'll now move into approval of the December 4th minutes. Does anyone want to get on the speaker list? See one. Cool. Senator Fulton.
Move to spell Pfeiffer correctly.
Okay, we have a motion to spell Pfeiffer Pfeiffer.
Second.
Seconded by Kiefer.
Yes.
Unanimous consent has been called. Any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? All right, seeing none, that amendment is adopted. It was moved by Folks and seconded by Kiefer. Anyone else for approval of the minutes? Anyone else? Last call. Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the December 4th meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Senator Anderson.
Second.
Seconded by Senator Brennan.
Unanimous.
Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Seeing none, the minutes have been approved. With that, we will now go into public comment. Just as a reminder to senators, please note eating, passing notes, drinking water is fine. But is there any public comment at this time? Yeah, sorry, it doesn't work. For sure.
Senators and Mr. President, thank you for the time to speak. My name is Steve Watson. I'm a retired professor and 35 years here at the University of working with motivated and effective staff. My favorite thing to do, I'm still doing a lot of volunteers here at the University. And I organized a People Sustainability Lecture and Action Series. It's the 50th birthday of Earth Day and the environmental program. And I did one 10 years ago, the 40th birthday. And some of the students who took the lecture series at that time are now on the panel this time. Because they are now out there making a difference in creating a lot of sustainability enterprises here in Missouri. And so this is not a traditional lecture series, in that instead of lectures, there are panels, giving presentations on what the way that they and their team have been building sustainability in Missouri. And the panel, over the first hour of the lecture series, the panel and the Q&A session, and then we switched to an open house where other people who are working on sustainability in Missouri can have tables with displays, assignment sheets, and internship opportunities and things of that sort. So it's Thursday nights, so tomorrow night personally, starting at 7 o'clock over in Gallagher. And it is open and free to the public. It's available for you of them credit. The students will believe that they'll be doing besides just attending the lectures and answering questions about them. It's a sustainability action project. We'll have internships, action projects, and so on. So it's a good way to connect with the community and show the extent to which move them and people are working hand in glove and building sustainability for our community. I hope that you'll come to any of these that you can fit into your time budget, and that you'll, if you want to take it for credit, it's available for the 100 level, 500 level, so you might go to the level. Share the lecture field trips. They used to have different levels of science. I also want to mention that on the back, anytime you run a study, you never have a blank back of the page. It's on the back of the page. And I just wanted to say that if later this semester, if you have time to work with your business schedule, I would love to do a presentation on this idea, which is a proposal to have a sustainability-oriented comprehensive organization course for musicians and staff. Staff is involved in it. And we require, try to provide enough incentives to encourage people who want to take it. And the orientation class would discuss many keys to sustainability, and also if they want to do them, they are going to achieve sustainability. And then I started thinking, well, take that introductory course, add it to this lecture series, allow students to choose from the many sustainability courses offered by our various departments on campus, put it together in that certificate as well. So that's just something that's possible. Already has several really good certificates. Business has a really good sustainable business strategy certificate, there are a number of others as well. And instead of proliferating these, so, you want to hear about that sometime, and you can look about it, and do that, or consider this, or you also have
And I do have a few questions, if you were willing to take questions. So first I have Senator Flanagan.
It's on that. I mean, I was just looking for
well, we have this to the president an electronic version of the schedule, and he has a way of distributing that.
Senator Johnson.
I really like this online where you can easily add it to a freshman course with a mandatory requirement, so that everybody has to see it, whether they want to or not. I think that really is one of the best ways of that. Just makes sense for
We'd really like to make it where it's just so desirable and compelling to take it that you would do it. So we were gonna offer things like, the drinks, free drinks, free kombucha down in the market, and it would introduce a raffle to win a float trip on the river and stuff like that. We want to give people incentives for that. But we also want to make it interesting enough that they want to.
Senator Fulton.
Well, my question's already asked, but
Thank you so much for coming. I don't have any more questions. Any more public comment?
Hello, everyone. For those of you that don't remember me, I'm Taylor Powell, former ASUM senator. I'm here tonight to just comment on the impeachment proceedings that you will all be seeing. The reason that I decided to come and comment on it is because I was up for impeachment for the exact same reason, like the middle of last semester, and was not impeached. I resigned at the end of the semester for various reasons. But was not impeached, and so I was just hoping to ask for all of your consistency in how you will be voting on the impeachment for the senator from last semester. I think that it is really important to set that precedent and that standard that you all want to achieve. And so, moving forward, potentially that could change. But at last semester, I was hoping you would all stick to the same standard that you allowed me to stay on Senate without a promotion for impeachment. So, yeah, if there's any questions, I'm going to miss seeing all of your faces on Wednesdays, but I'll be around. So, thank you.
Thank you, Taylor. Any more public comment? Any more public comment?
Hi everyone, I'm Maddie. I use she, his pronouns. I'm the ASUM Sustainability Coordinator at the again. I just wanted to come and give an update on what we accomplished in both semester and kind of what you can expect from ASUM Sustainability Coordinator, the Sustainability Center, and kind of Sustainability in general looking forward to the spring. So I want to start by thanking you for letting me take a place and talk about this. And I also want to say, I started this position last semester, and I'm really happy to be here at UM. And it's just really exciting to me that I get to spend every day working on sustainability. So thank you for that opportunity and for funding this position. So just a brief background. So the ASUM Sustainability Center is housed in ASUM, obviously. I work really closely with Eva, our sustainability coordinator, and our primary mission is to engage campus and students and stuff, and sustainability initiatives on events, behavior changes, really anything that we can do to support and move sustainability goals. So specifically, I work on the Class Revolving Energy Development Team, which is funded by the Student Sustainability Team, and supports student-initiated projects on campus that support sustainability. I also coordinate the Green Office Program, which is a faculty self-engagement program around sustainability behavior change initiatives focused in offices on campus. I also work in transportation a little bit. Right now that looks like doing outreach and advocacy when needed, so helping with social media and outreach, as well as coordinating all transportation ambassadors who are paid student interns. And I'm also currently taking over the sustainability communications. So we do have an Instagram and a Facebook. Our Instagram is ASUM.sustainability, and our Facebook is Young Sustainability. If you're not following us, you should do so. Great. I say that because I write it. So just moving into some of our role highlights. As I said, I think the biggest highlight is that I started. This is the first year that this position has been funded full time. So it was a lot. I started mid-September, so a lot of the role was kind of getting used to UM and figuring out what exactly I was doing. As well as that, we hired 4 transportation ambassadors. They had 3 successful events, as well as did other outreach, primarily around bike safety, but also on buses and other ways to sustainability. I met with most of our green officers that were onboarded in 2018 and 2019. So I think in 2019 we had about 12 officers, and I met with the majority of those to understand how the program was working for them, what we can improve moving forward. And we brought on 4 new officers into that program. With regards to social media, we grew our Instagram following by 20%. And the reason I mention that is because I think social media is a really great tool for advocacy, outreach, engagement, and education. And by having a bigger following, we're able to get those messages and ideas out to more folks. And then another highlight, which is just a really small one, that Eva, the sustainability coordinator, and I started writing handwritten letters to prospective students interested in sustainability to help educate them about what UM is doing for sustainability and hopefully to increase enrollment with regards to that. Things that you can expect from us in the spring and to look forward to. So I started doing monthly green bags. It's like a fun version of a brown bag. For the interested in the green office program. So that's primarily faculty stuff. And the idea for this is monthly sessions around each of, we have a green office list with different ways to get points. And so each month we're doing kind of different categories. So this month is transportation, we're going to do a procurement one, etc. I'm also planning to increase outreach. So not only with the idea of soliciting proposals, but also educating students about where the money is going. Right now, not enough students know about sustainability fee and know what it's funding. I think it's really important for transportation and for transparency, not transportation. To increase transparency about where that money is going and what we're funding with that. Additionally, I've started posting weekly sustainability tips on our social media. It's a great way to follow us if you're interested on things that you can do to be more sustainable. And we do have a lot of events upcoming. So as Vicky mentioned, it's the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. Eva and I are in very, very, very early brainstorming stages of planning of the event. We're hoping it's going to center voices that aren't traditionally, that aren't historically included in the Earth Day narrative. So beginning to challenge that conception of the days of environmentalists, what image are we thinking of, and doing an event to challenge that and engaging conversations around that. Some other events that you can look forward to, we'll be engaging in, we're partnering with New Zealand and Notion to do the UM Community Challenge again in February. We also have our annual UM Sustainability Awards, Campus Growth, and then a couple of other events partnering with on-campus departments as well as in the community. So these are just some of our highlights. If you have any questions, or I would also be really interested to hear if there are things that you would like to see just sustainability doing that we're not already doing. I'd love to hear those.
I do have a couple people on my speakers list. So first I have Senator Flamer.
Hi. Similar to what I've asked in the past, very pleased to help advertise sustainability efforts. So this was specifically in terms of pay.
Yeah, I think that's a great question, and I appreciate you always bringing that up. I think the main thing is engaging folks in conversation, promoting events that we're doing, promoting health. The sustainability committees do need to be similar, so if you have friends who are interested in that, advertising those. Yeah, I think this kind of general information is good.
Senator Johnson.
How successful have the other
I don't know that. So Eva just started getting email with students who have indicated sustainability as an interest around Thanksgiving. So I would say we send generally my weekly meetings with them, we each write out 4 letters. So that's probably. So I don't know how successful that they have been, but I think it's better to try and write them and engage students to show progressive students that we represent our sustainability. So.
President Belcher.
I just want to thank you so much for coming and congratulate you on your first semester at UM. You've done such a good job diving in head first and working with other people on campus and just making yourself a part of the community. So congratulations. Thank you for coming.
Anyone else? Thank you so much for coming, Matt.
Yeah, if anyone has a about sustainability or chat about ways to be engaged or has ideas, my office is UC 109 and I get you guys on stage every day. So feel free to email me or stuff. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. All right, is there any more public comment? Any more public comment? Last call for public comment. All right, seeing none, so ends public comment.
So begins the president's report. My apologies to our guests. We just have a quick bit of housekeeping to do when we have to swear in new senators. So Senators Medina and Gregory, please. Sorry. Vice President Henry.
I move to approve Adriana Medina and Taylor Gregory as new ASUM senators.
Yeah.
Great. Senators Medina and Gregory, will you please step into the center of the little U? Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Adriana Medina,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of Senator
the office of Senator
of the Associated Students of the University of Montana
of the Associated Students of the University of Montana,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the rights and privileges
the rights and privileges
of the students of the University of Montana,
of the students of the University of Montana,
and will responsibly undertake
and will responsibly undertake
all duties necessary
all duties necessary
to secure
these ends.
Welcome. And then Cindy and Suzanne, if you want to come on up.
Thank you, President.
No, I think it's big.
Thank you, President Belcher, and officers and ASUM senators. We appreciate this opportunity for this key group event. I'd like to introduce Suzanne Peterson, who is chair of the Innovation Board.
Thank you for inviting us tonight. We'd like to spend a little time and give you an idea of what the University of Montana Foundation does, because we have found over the last few years that not everybody knows what it does, and it is very important to the university. So we're going to give you a little overview and then we'll welcome any of your questions.
So I did just make a little one-page handout that has some information that may be helpful to you either during your conversation or later. We'll try to be brief because I know you have a big agenda and probably a long meeting ahead of you as well because you have to go on. So the mission of the UN Foundation is to inspire philanthropic support of the university. And the second slide shows a few details about our history and our purpose. So the UN Foundation was founded 2 years ago. We are governed by an independent board of trustees.
And we operate under an agreement with the university, a contract, if you will, that is reviewed and approved by the non-funding agreements every 2 years. Not sure that I mentioned what independent nonprofits, so not necessarily a department of the university, but an external entity that was with the university. Some university foundations like ours solely manage funds that are contributed while the university manages a fundraising effort. But in our case, like many university foundations, we both manage the process of fundraising and manage those funds that are contributed until the university is ready to spend them. One important fact about the way the foundation works with the university is that the priorities for what we raise money for are set by the university president or his designees, such as school and college deans. The UM Foundation doesn't have influence on what the university chooses its priorities for fundraising. The one point of feedback that we will give to the university is where we think there's donor support. Some projects have the likelihood of a lot of donor support, some less, and we're responsible to the president to provide recommendations. One new thing that I wanted to let ASUM know about that we just rolled out is shown on the third slide on your page. And that is a section on our website, frequently asked questions. And so we are working to provide more information to students, to our donors, to members of the public about who the foundation is, how we operate, how we work in collaboration with the university. So there is a PDF document here that also digital drop down menu you can use. It's about 12 pages from the PDF document. We've assembled an initial set of questions that we frequently receive from the public with responses from us. And we'll continue to add to this as we identify more common questions in the public ranges. Okay. Campaign Montana. I learned that you may be interested in that. So we are currently engaged in the final months of Campaign Montana. It's a comprehensive fundraising effort that was launched in July of 2013. The priorities for that campaign were largely set by the university president or provost who was serving at that time in 2013. Over time, some of the priorities have shifted a little bit. And then in October of 2018, just before we announced the campaign publicly, we did add some new leadership priorities that Seth and his new team had envisioned for the university. So the public announcement in fall of 2018 declared that we sought to raise $400 million for the university within the 7-year campaign. And to date, we have received $411 million. I have to say, having been with the foundation in this experience, Dan has served on or worked out the entire campaign, the generosity and the well-paid funds of the university has far surpassed our expectations and the expectations of the university leadership. I do think it's a testament to how much people care about this place, how much they believe in the power of the university, and how important they think it is to invest in students here. The campaign will conclude this summer, and we are, over the final months of the campaign, striving to achieve the priorities that are not yet met that we set out to achieve. The right-hand column there on that slide notes the impact of the campaign. More than 42,000 donors have contributed to date. The largest piece of campaign fundraising has gone to support students. That $120 million is directed in large part to scholarships for students, but there are also different supports for study abroad activities, internship support, and other activities like that. $38 million so far to support faculty, and donors largely do that through endowed chairs, professorships, faculty fellowships that help the university recruit and retain world-class faculty within the university. $85 million to either enhance or launch new academic programs at the university, and finally $48 million to construct or renovate learning environments, facility improvements. I really maybe interested specifically in student success priorities, and I didn't have a chance to clarify whether that was in general or specific, so I sought to cover both. So in a general sense, every school and college on campus has their own set of campaign priorities that they're working toward. And if you look on the campaign website, which is campaignmontana.org, you'll find a listing of all the priorities in every single college is working on. And you'll find commonalities across those where schools and colleges are seeking to raise more money for scholarships, internships, study abroad activities for students. They have been working in the last couple of years to help establish student success advising centers in colleges, like what you see in the College of Business or the Center in the Arts the College of Humanities and Sciences. And then there have been some schools and colleges where this campaign, not all, but who have sought to upgrade them. So and then more on the specific side, the idea of student success priorities and the priority for action, making students the center of all we do, is something that's been part of President Rogers' leadership since he joined the campus. And so he asked us to start looking at some new priorities in the campaign. And that includes a really intensive effort to raise significant funding to grow the number of professional academic advisors on campus, and then also to support and enhance the work that faculty members do. And the university has a strong belief that when every student has an assigned professional academic advisor and a faculty mentor, then we'll see success rates in terms of retention and graduation rates for us. So we're working with the university on that. Scholarships, Montana Access Scholarships is a new scholarship project we've been working on, backed by some matching funding from the state. And then the Sea Change Initiative, which I'm sure many of you have heard about, and people like this, the Montana Magazine. Let me see, I have one last one. Knowing that sustainability continues to be an ever increasing important priority for students, and then amazingly sitting here and hearing two great presentations from public comment on sustainability, I thought I would make a couple notes about how the foundation partners with the university and how donor funds help the university to work to become more sustainable. So one of those big areas is in the area of facility renovation and construction. As all of you are well aware, the facilities of the university suffer from significant hurricanes and are aging. And so whatever we can do to help the university identify private funds to renovate facilities or to construct and replace facilities, we know that's going to help the university decrease its carbon footprint. So we're excited about things that we see, say, at Paul, and some projects that I'm not sure I should say yet, not announced, but other projects to renovate aging facilities or replace them. So we're excited about that. And then, of course, the support that wraps around our rural classic college programs. They're really a crown jewel of the university. The scholarship support for students that allows them to career professionals in these fields, faculty and research support, all of those things we think helps them drive policy initiatives in those fields, and it helps to be able to find better ways to do things. So as the university president and his leadership team identify other areas in which they would like to try some sustainability initiatives, they may ask the foundation to partner with them on those, that receiving donor funds, and of course some initiatives they can choose to buy. Okay, I hope that was brief, but we are welcoming the questions.
All right, I just have one senator on my speakers list right now for questions, but if you want to get on the speaker list, please just raise your placard. Senator Fulton.
Hi, thank you for coming out. So I noticed that there's 120 million for student support. Is that the majority of it going to go towards teaching freshmen, or is it also going to go to all undergraduates and also graduate professional students as well?
Yeah, well, I would say both. So there are strong scholarship portfolios in schools and colleges, but I think we're understanding more and more the need for scholarships to help attract freshmen who have a different major or attached to college. And so there's a lot of focus there on scholarships and also for scholarships for students with financial. And I won't try to lengthen this point too much, but it is interesting when you think about scholarship fundraising over the history of the foundation, again founded in 1950. In 1950, your grandparents probably really, many of them did not have financial need for assistance in college because you could work a little summer job and pay your tuition and buy a pizza. But the dynamics of earnings and the cost of college have changed a lot in 7 years. And so that scholarship portfolio that started 70 years ago was pretty weighted in those early decades toward academic merit and attracting students on that basis. But I think we're seeing in the last few days much greater need to help us to support students. So I'm not sure I can really answer this question, but follow up if
Ma'am,
Yes.
with like the students with financial need and all that, does that also take into consideration students who like out of nowhere, like an emergency comes through and they need that financial like?
Let me talk a little bit about that. Most of the colleges and the deans are setting up discretionary funds that they have control of for those types of things. I know in the College of Business that they have a fund just for something drastic happening, like our guy in class, or I have this competition that would be really beneficial for me in my educational opportunity, and I can't afford to go. So money is being raised for those types of things too, both for students to be able to participate or those emergencies that come up, the rent and textbooks, whatever, just a one-time thing. And also for faculty so that they would be able to continue research and travel and present, because that makes our faculty better. And if our faculty is better, your education is better. So those are all things that are being fundraised for within the different colleges. So that is one of those things.
I think it's a big area of potential growth going forward. I think that most of our constituents are in the middle or beyond middle age donors would be shocked to know that there are students at college who might be forced to drop out for lack of $300 or $400, or shocked to know that there are students who suffer from insecurity. And I think probably the general public assumes if you made it to college onto a campus, those kinds of things aren't an issue. But of course, what we know and what you're helping to educate us about is big hard issues. Can the senators remind me who might have been in a meeting a couple of months ago about the process to award emergency funds? I feel like there was a senator there. You were there. Okay, hello again. And so from that meeting, that was the last meeting I was in, and it seemed like the university was still working through what the application and approval process of the U.S. office of overseeing, and perhaps there's been meetings since then.
I have not been to it.
We'll go over it in my other.
Okay.
Unless you want to know right now.
No, that's okay. We are, as a foundation, we're eager to know and receive updates that all comes together. As Suzanne mentioned, there have been some donors who have been on the forefront of this and have already been making contributions. But I think once we can start to tell the story about the magnitude of the need of the process, there's a lot.
Great, Senator Slattery.
I just wanted to say thank you so much for coming out. I'm really excited to see that sustainability coming
Okay, would anyone else like to ask any questions? All right, looks like you're free to go. Thank you so much for coming. Oh, no, that's fine. All right, and then I just have one committee report for you all since the retreat, and that's the University Academic Accreditation Committee. They met today, and what happened is each PFA group went over which metrics they decided to include in the report and how they were going to develop targets for them. Specifically, I'm on the priority for Action 1 subcommittee, which is putting students student success at the center of all we do, and so we presented the methods that we developed and the targets that we have for those. That included various things like graduation rate, credit completion in an academic year, and whatnot. So if anyone wants to know more about that or is interested in data, please let me know. I'd be happy to include you in that. And then next up, I have a resolution in my report, resolution adjusting student employee hours to provide a bi-weekly pay period. Vice President, do you like the authorship?
Yeah. So I'm going to explain it really quickly and then explain what I'm going to do. So, business services is implementing a new pay system for all student employees, and student employees are now paid on a bi-weekly system, or bi-weekly rate compared to a bi-monthly rate, which is different. It blew my mind how different it was. So there is 26 pay periods in a year instead of 24 pay periods in a bi-monthly pay period. So the rates, if you compare it to the old personnel policy, are not directly half. They're a little bit less because you're getting paid more. This is something that was handed down to us as something that they are going to implement. So this isn't something that we're like adamant about getting a bi-weekly pay period. This is just something that we have to implement so that all future student employees know how to write their pay sheets, and any future accounts know how to set up the pay sheets and set up the hours that people are working. And then before I go on, I'm going to ask for a follow-up after this, but there is one kind of difference that I noticed in the resolution. I've been trying to get further clarification on it today. Ultimately, the transportation bus driver that's in the later part of the resolution is off right now, and I am waiting to hear back from the agency director. I thought it was right in there, but I guess it's not. So I'm going to ask for a follow-up.
Before I grant your follow-up, Business Manager Parsons, would you like to speak since you are a sponsor?
I didn't know I was a sponsor, so this is cool.
Vice President Hanley, your follow-up?
To postpone until next week.
Seconded by Senator Durden. Unanimous consent has been called. All right, and then I just realized I didn't ask the questions about the University Academic Accreditation Committee. Did anyone have questions about that? Sweet. Next up, I have online public comment. You should have all received that in your email today. Is there any discussion about online public comment? Senator Fulton.
This is just a question. So when we've gotten online public comment in the past, it's been in our binders. Why wasn't this one in our binders?
This is our secretary's first week back, and so I failed to remind her to do that. But I also have decided that I think we're going to continue to not print it out because it's a waste of paper. And it's usually not that much anyway, so I think you all can read it. Is there any discussion on the content of the online public comment that was mailed out today? Senator Nelson.
Regarding one of the comments, I would ask that senators please disregard in regards to the impeachment, any discussion that goes beyond the impeachment, that can be so analysis. That seemed inappropriate, at least in my opinion.
Any further discussion? All right. Thank you, everyone. We will now move into my other. Since y'all wanted an update on emergency grants, that's pretty much where I said at the retreat. I'll be meeting with faculty to discuss grant options. It looks like there's a lot of enthusiasm there, and I'm hoping that can be a more immediate solution for something to get implemented at the end of this spring or this summer. The Young Foundation has been more than helpful in reaching out to donors and being encouraging with that. We've also had the support of Sarah Slaughter and Beth Bodmer, so I'm confident that this will be a successful foundation project in the future. So that's all I have for now. Did anyone have any general suggestions about the programs, comments? Any people have questions about what an emergency program is? Senator Reed.
You just speak more to that emergency program is.
Yeah, so an emergency grant program is a grant program designed for students who have unforeseen financial emergencies. So a couple examples of that could be if a student had a relative die and they needed a last minute plane ticket home, or if a student broke their glasses and needed to replace them so that they could go to school and they didn't have enough money to do that. It's just kind of how they were talking about earlier. If there's something that a student can't foresee, but it could impede them from continuing their education, we want to make sure that these things. There's also been a lot of research done by Kat Cowley at the UN Food Pantry about food insecurity and poverty in college students in general that I'd be happy to reshare with all of you. Any more questions about that? Sweet. Next up, I just wanted to inform you, I meant to talk about this at the retreat, but I didn't, about a policy that Vice President Hanley and I had an informal meeting about with the registrar and Vice Provost about moving the drop deadline. So right now, the way that it is with the signature of the faculty dean and advisor, you can drop a course all the way up until right before, I think it's like right before finals week. But they're looking at changing that to 45 academic days in the semester, which is much closer to academic best practice. The problem is right now is once it gets towards the end of the semester and students are at the last minute trying to drop their classes, it creates a huge administrative burden for faculty and deans that they just can't keep up with. And so that's kind of causing problems in the university. Additionally, if a student does need to drop a class, as far as student success goes, it's much better for them to do it earlier in the semester. So that way they have more time to sort of get their life together and figure out their schedule for next semester if they need to retake it rather than doing it at the last minute. Senator Gurnall.
Is this a response to the change in the pay period for paper classes?
No, they have nothing to do with each other. As far as I know, unless there's a conspiracy going on here. Senator Fulton.
Will all students be informed of this policy change if it's enacted?
Yeah, so one of the other conversations surrounding this policy change is trying to find a better way to clarify it in the emails that the registrar sends out, because I think that also this semester led to a lot of last minute drops. Yes, Senator Fulton.
Is it possible to inform the advisors so that way they are able to share this with like their advice and their students?
I'm sure the advisors can be informed, but it's not official yet. But this is just Senator Johnston.
When will the policy be implemented next year?
Vice President Hanley.
I'd say like fall 2020. So the reason for that is because it does have to go through ASCRC and Faculty Senate. So it's going to take time for that policy to go through the channel. So during that process, there will be student input and student votes on the change to that policy for the people that are sitting on ASCRC this semester.
Senator Anderson.
Will there be, so if they implement this policy, will there be some sort of appeal process if a student has like a last minute emergency and it's going to require them to drop the course, like they're unable to complete it?
Yeah, so it was explicitly expressed to us that students who had like medical emergencies, that would still be an option for them. This is just a general drop process that they're going to cut to those advisors. Any more questions or comments about that? Sweet. Next up, I just have a couple of small things. So I actually decided to change my office hours this semester, and luckily for you all, I now have more of them. And they will be Mondays from 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. and Wednesdays from 3 to 5. So feel free to stop and talk to me. But if you need to talk to me about something and those times don't work for you, email me. I'm always flexible about making appointments, and I do like to meet with senators. And then lastly, just a quick reminder that while we have guest speakers, we do not cast votes. That's it for my other, unless anyone had any questions or comments for me about something unrelated. Great. So when's the president's report?
So begins Vice President's report. So the first one we have to do is vote in all the committee assignments that happened over the spring semester. I track the changes on here so you can see all of the changes. They're not like completely new one like we did last year. But yeah, let me hold on, Senator Flanagan. Let me keep going. Yeah, Senator Flanagan.
Yeah, could you scroll to the website for the move to remove Christian Pfeiffer as vice chair website.
Okay, there's been a motion to remove Christian Pfeiffer as vice chair of the website committee. Seconded by Senator Johnson. Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? All right, seeing none, Christian's been removed as the vice chair. Yeah. Yeah. All right, yeah, go ahead.
Move to add any reference to the
Oh, you don't have to make a motion for that. I'll just add him as the ex officio with the resolution passed. Cool. Anyone else want to get on? Can you tab over to the university committees? Oh, yeah. Did you want to go back to ASUM committees?
No,
Good.
forgive me if this isn't the right thing to do this, but speaking as chair of the website, if y'all could let it go lead times and keep them on the spreadsheet, it'd be more helpful to me, and then I can go to the website and put the lead times on the website for everybody. So that general public can look at it.
I was going to get to that later, but thanks for beating me to the punch. And then, yeah, I explained this all at retreat about the reorganization, but you can see all of them. And then if you could scroll down and slowly. If you're on a defunct committee, just, I mean, you can just hang out there and have fun. I'll try to see if it meets, but chances are if you're on a defunct committee, it's not. Cool. And then, yeah, also just don't worry about the color coding. Anyone else? Anyone else? Senator Terrell.
Yeah, it was just a small thing. Could you expect the ones that are like more the style and stuff?
Yeah, in the future, I'll just get rid of all the colors. Several.
Move to add myself to the campus diagram research.
So that has to go through a different process that we're using. We'll bring it about later. Okay. Any more discussions on that? Last call. All right, seeing none, I will entertain a motion to approve committee signs. Moved by Senator Corkish, seconded by Senator Flanagan, and unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Seeing none, committee updates have been approved. Next up is committee reports, and I have a few, so bear with me for a second. The executive director of the Mansfield Center search concluded right after finals week, and I want to give everyone an update on that. We had Ken Holland, a candidate from the University of American University of Afghanistan, come and visit, as well as Dina Mansour, who is the interim director. We made a recommendation right after finals week, and the provost has hired Dina Mansour as the permanent director of the Mansfield Center. So yeah, I think that was pretty much it. The second committee report I have is the College of Business Dean search is in the midst of Zoom interviews. We have conducted all interviews except for one, and then we will narrow it down to reference checks, and then eventually narrow it down to finalists to where they should hopefully be coming to visit by the end of February, early March. I know that seems kind of a long ways away, but that's kind of the timeline that we have right now. And then the last one, the new student success director search just completed interviews, and we are in the final stages of that search. Sarah Hall.
How many applicants did you get for College of Business?
41? Oh. I don't know. It wasn't as many as I was expecting. Any questions for me on my committee reports? Cool. Seeing none, the next thing I will go to is the absence policy. So I sent you all an email about this on Monday, but I wanted to make clear so the two changes are that you only need to notify me 6 hours before a Senate meeting in case you're missing it. I just thought the 24 hours thing was just not working out, and I think it's a little bit easier. If something comes up like Wednesday morning or whatnot, and you want to email me and try to get an excuse before noon, I just think that works better for you, and it works better for me because then it's easier for me to check the attendance. I don't have people sometimes emailing me like 3 days before the Senate meeting to where I have to sort it out. I just think it's going to work better. So hopefully that works for you all better. If it doesn't, let me know, but not. And then the other thing I did get rid of was the excused mental health absence. And part of the reason that I got rid of this was because I'm not against anyone taking a mental health absence when they need it. I just think I can't afford 3 excused absences with people missing 3 Senate meetings this semester for a couple reasons. One, this semester always has more stuff happening every year. That's just a fact. It's the same thing happened last year, especially during legislative years. More stuff is happening during the spring. So it's more important for you all to come to Senate meetings so that you can talk about the specific issues that we're debating during Senate, so that we can talk about elections when they come up in April, so we can talk about formal lobbying and final budgeting, and the changes to those different things when they come up during this meeting, when they come up during some of the February meetings, or even after. And then also going on like the university-related issues that we're taking stances on. I think that's the other important thing. The second thing is that this semester, we have a smaller Senate. So statistically, it is statistically harder to make quorum with a smaller Senate. Because if we have 7 people miss, that means that 7 or 8, that means we don't have quorum and we can't conduct a meeting. So I can really only afford those 2 absences. And if you want to take 2 absences, take 2 Senate meetings off to take mental health absences, that's fine. That's the purpose of having those unexcused absences there. I just really, the semester couldn't afford that 3rd excused absence for mental health. So, does anyone have any questions for me about that? Oh, sorry, Bolton.
Move to return to the decision of the chair for mental health absence.
Yeah, there's a motion to appeal the decision of the chair for mental health absence, seconded by Senator Flanagan. I'm gonna go with Flanagan, so, sorry, yeah, it's Blocker up first. Bolton.
So I think that removing the mental health absence is a horrible idea. I understand your condolences, like your concerns with it. I personally, especially with people who are on this body who could potentially be going through a lot of family issues and going through a lot of other personal aspects in their life, a mental health day is something that we should be taking, that should be worried about, because all of us are going to be busy this spring semester. And I feel like because the chair trying to remove that day, I don't feel like we can just really taking into consideration everybody's mental health. I understand why you're doing this. I personally cannot agree with how it's been done. The mental health thing needs to stay on this, and we need to keep it. Otherwise, we're gonna end up doing less work, and we're gonna end up having more problems without the mental health day.
So I think the stuff that I prefaced earlier can kind of apply here. But the other thing too is that part of being a senator is meeting those minimum obligations, which is not missing 3 or more Senate meetings, and that's just part of it. For mental health absences, if you need to take one, that's totally fine, and the unexcused absence is there for taking one. If there's an extreme situation like you have a family member die and you have to go to a funeral and you need a mental health absence for that, that is not a mental health absence. That is an excused absence for a family emergency. So I just kind of want to clarify that discretion that I'm exercising there. But for stuff like you're overworked and you're overstressed and you need that mental health absence to kind of take a break from Senate, that's where you're going to have to take an unexcused absence in order to do that. Part of me getting rid of this is, in my opinion, trying to bring back the standards of you can't miss more than 3 Senate meetings, or you can't miss 3 or more Senate meetings. That's just part of a duty of being a senator. So, Senator Flanagan.
So the main reason I said it is because I really just wanted to have a discussion on this topic that we should be talking about it a lot more concerning the policy of mental health absence. For example, in my personal knowledge, I thought the mental health absence was only 1 day. I didn't think it was urgently 1 meeting. I didn't think it would multiply over multiple meetings. So that's why I'm glad we're talking about it. If anybody has some clarification on that, that'd be great. Moreover, to my knowledge, we currently have a bigger Senate than we do than we had at the end of last semester in terms of membership. So I don't really understand the smaller Senate argument unless it's referring to when the policy was first established. And I don't know how many Senate we had when the policy was first established. But mainly, I just wanted to add that.
So, okay, let me just a few things. First, the way that this motion works is that there is no discussion afterwards, but you can have a discussion afterwards during my agenda item or during the other if you would like to on this. So the second thing is that the mental health absence, the way it worked is you got one if you wanted to take a mental health absence and then you took it, and then if you needed to take another mental health absence after that, it was unexcused. So really it was like 3, and now this semester was 2. The third thing is that last semester, although the Senate size fluctuated a bit, we started the semester with 24 senators and we maintained 24 to 25 pretty much throughout the semester. This semester we're starting at 22, and as the spring semester typically goes, we usually have a few resignations that come with that semester too. And so once it gets down lower and lower, statistically it's going to be harder to meet quorum, and that's part of my argument there. If you all want to have a discussion about this after this motion, go ahead. I think that's, that wasn't really the point of me putting this agenda item here, but if you all want to have a discussion about this afterwards, go right ahead. I'm open to it. All right, we'll now take a placard vote on the motion to appeal the decision of the chair regarding the mental health absence. It is a 2/3 vote to appeal my decision. So all those in favor of appealing the decision of the chair, please signify by raising your placard. And please raise them high so it's easier for me to count. All those opposed? Abstentions? Okay, motion to appeal the decision fails 4 to 15 to 4. If you all want to have a discussion about this, I'll open up my speakers list. Or we can wait until my other if you want. Senator Flanagan.
Okay, I noticed, can I refer to the previous discussion? Will you
Yeah, what's up?
Can I refer to the previous discussion, like motions in this, like discussion?
Yeah, that's fine. Yep.
So one of the biggest things that's bugging me about this removal of this policy is the idea that we're doing it because we're kind of trying to safeguard against senator resignation or losing senators. And I can't help but think that if we have this, if we remove this policy, we're going to be losing senators regardless, and it's going to be sort of we're going to be shooting ourselves in the foot and having a problem anyways if we remove the policy. And that's why I can't help but think that we should have it back in the place.
Sorry, Porkish.
No, I just wanted to explain why I did, and I talked to Chris about this after getting the email. The only problem I have with it is I think we, as a body, stands for what we want to run as on campus, and this problematic. And I just wanted to represent both the
Charlie.
I just have a quick question. Is mental health in this defined somewhere in our docs, or and if not, could you put forward one?
I mean, it would just be like if you were stressed out or you had too much on your plate, that kind of absence. If it was like a medical procedure or like anything medical for mental health, that is an excused absence. That is different than the intention I set forward with mental health. I don't really have an exact definition, but I have kind of like a loose framework that I operated that out of last semester.
Thank you.
Does anyone else want to talk about this? Anyone else? Okay, we can revisit this issue if you want to talk about it further during my other, because that would be the appropriate time to have that conversation. The next is communication. So I won't speak on behalf of the other executives on modes of communication with the exception of one. If you want to get into contact with us, email our ASUM accounts, not our student accounts. That is business of ASUM really belongs in our ASUM emails. So please email us if you want to get into contact with us. The other ways that you can get in contact with me, you can call my office phone or my cell phone. If it's like an emergency or it's like something urgent, you can call my cell, but typically just email me and I'll try to respond to you as quick as I can. You can call my office phone. That's not the most reliable because I'm not in my office all the time. But if you want to try my office phone, that's totally acceptable. And if you leave a voicemail, I'll try to get back to you on that one too. For other forms of communication for ASUM, I'm not going to answer them anymore. So just make sure that you're emailing me through my ASUM account or calling me on either of my phones. It's just kind of difficult to manage all these forms of different communication that I'm doing with you all. So it's easiest if I can keep it in one place, and then that way I can sort and do with it whatever I want. Any questions about that? President Belcher.
Yeah, I'd just like to add that the same goes for me. I think one thing that happens with senators a lot is for some reason they want to use Facebook Messenger, and I think that's because we have a Facebook group chat. But please don't personally Facebook message me about things to do with ASUM because I actually have my notifications turned off. So not only will I not see it, but when I do see it, I won't reply because it's not over email. And then it's also just like a good thing as far as it goes with us being public officials to have all of our ASUM business in sort of one centralized place. So I just really want to emphasize why using email is so important. You can also try to call me on my office phone, but I spend way more time out of the office at meetings, so it's probably not the best way to reach me. And then another way is leaving a note with the receptionist. That's totally acceptable too.
Yeah, the same goes with me for notifications too. Because usually my priority is my ASUM email up top, so that's the first thing I'm going to respond to. That's going to be the quickest response. Any more questions about that? Cool. Seeing none, the next item is mentors and mentees. So for those of you that are returning senators and have a mentee, please reach out and email them. If you would like me to send another invitation email to them about it, just let me know and I will connect you to again if you haven't met in a while. I know a few of you have been meeting quite a bit with your mentor or mentees. I know some of you haven't been meeting that often. Again, it's just there just to utilize whenever you want. Please try to meet with your mentees at least like twice this semester. It's really great. They want to get to talk to you, and it's really cool to have that student input. So yeah, for new senators, with the exception of Senator Corkish, Jimmy, and Gregory, I sent you all an email with exactly what the mentor-mentee thing is. Please read over the document that is in the box, or I sent it to you, or whatever. It's either in the box or I sent it to you. And email me your top 3 choices, and then I will connect you with your mentee Monday next week, and then try to schedule a meeting and maybe work on projects. The biggest thing for that, try to find someone on admin or on that document that you are passionate about working about. So like, if you want to work on the debt restructure and kind of where that money is going to go, Paul Lazo, the Vice President for Operations and Finance, would be a perfect person to work with that. If you want to work on maybe, let's say, sexual assault, Christine Fior, the Director of SARC, would be a great person to connect to with that, or Alicia Aaron, the Director of Equal Opportunity and Affirmative Action from the Title IX Coordinator, would be another person to do that. If you want to work on maybe the free speech policy, Lucy France would be great. So make sure you read the job descriptions or read the kind of the positions that they have. Some of them are obscure, so if you have any questions about the positions, you can just send me an email and I'd be happy to elaborate on the positions and what they do. Senator Johnson.
I know you're not allowed to have 2 is it possible to have like an unofficial one that you're allowed to meet with?
You can meet with anyone, whenever you want. So, President Belcher.
If any of you want to meet with any administrator or campus community member for any reason, please just let me know. I'd be more than happy to introduce you and set that up. My email is always open for that.
Mine too. You need help out with, so I suggest go to her if you want a meeting. But any more questions about that? Sweet. Seeing Senator. Oh, Senator Reed.
The list you sent us in the email, was it limited to just cabinet or like for admin, and then like if can there be mentees that are outside of that list that we can suggest, or is that just
Yeah, sure. So if you want someone that's off that list, just email me with the person that you want, and I'll try to set it up. 2 of the senators that have mentees right now, they're actually Senator Gregory and Jimmy, got people or got mentees that were not originally on that list, with Donna Anderson as a senior international officer and Brad Hall as a tribal outreach specialist. So yeah, Paul.
Unless faculty members are
So we don't do it with faculty because it's mainly for just like top level administrators, so cabinet and then other cabinets. Yeah. Any other questions about that? Sweet. Seeing none, I will move on to office hours. So you need to sign up for an office hour by the end of the week. Most of you have already done that, but if you haven't, make sure to go in the box and do that. If you can't access the document, which it sounds like a few of you haven't been able to, and it infuriates me, but just send me an email and send me the preferred time that you want, and I will just put it in the box or the document for you, because for whatever reason, I have access to all the documents and you have not all access to all the documents. So just send me an email and I will update that. Again, sign up for it by the end of the week and come to your office hour, or you will receive a 3rd unexcused absence. Obviously, if you can't make it or you have like a serious conflict with it, email me and I can give you an excuse. But you, at a minimum, need to sign up for your office hour by the end of the week, or you'll get a 3rd unexcused absence, no questions asked. Any questions about that? Cool. Seeing none. The next agenda item I have is the ASUM committee's communication/expectations. So the first thing on communication, you need to include me in all of your group chats and add or CC me on all of your committee emails. That way I can keep track of what all the committees are doing, when they're meeting, so that I can cross-reference that with my attendance spreadsheet as well as the one in the box. And yeah, just make sure that you do that. And then the second thing, if you are a committee chair, you need to email your members and try to have a meeting time set up by the end of the week. If it's not possible for you to have a meeting time set up by the end of the week, come talk to me and we can work that out. If you're having troubles finding a good time for all your committee members to attend the meetings, come talk to me and we can also deal with that too. And then also, touching on what Senator Flanagan said earlier, once you have your meeting time set, put it in the spreadsheet. That spreadsheet is also on the website. So even if it takes Senator Flanagan like a little while to upload the times to the website, we're still being a little transparent there. But I have confidence that Senator Flanagan can execute his duties as website chair. Any questions, comments, concerns for me about that? All right, seeing none, we will move on to Senate Bill 47, resolution clarifying how to introduce business in Article 1, Section 2 of ASUM House Rules. I'm going to wait for Secretary to pull that one up. And then you have to track this on. All right. So I'm just going to give a quick authorship, and then before I allow discussion, I'm going to entertain a motion on a couple of amendments. So this resolution has been brought to you because ASUM should follow the law. And also in our Constitution, it says we need to follow the law. So that is why I'm bringing you this resolution. The last clause in section or paragraph B of House Rules is currently not in compliance with Montana open meeting laws. There is no mechanism in any parliamentary meeting that you can add an agenda item during the meeting. That is not giving notice to the public, and that is not being transparent at all. So that's why this is here to strike it. So yeah, and then I'm going to entertain a motion for the following amendments. So we can entertain a motion to add line numbers, add a semicolon at the end of the second whereas clause, add a period at the end of the last therefore clause, and then add a signature line to my name. So it's been moved by Senator Turallo. I'm going to say seconded by Senator Corkish, and unanimous consent has been called. Any discussion or objection? Okay, I'm going to give the secretary about a minute because that was like 5 things that she has to do that require a complete different thing. So if you want to get on my speakers list to talk about it, just raise your placard, but I'm going to wait to call on you. Sorry. So Adam. Yeah, Adam.
I'll add the rest of it.
Yeah. All right.
Make resolutions.
Does anyone want to get on my speakers list?
Almost do that. You didn't.
Anyone want to get on my speakers list? All right, we're going to wait for the amendments before we go for a roll call vote. But if you still want to discuss, you can raise your placard. Hey, Dan, you can add the signature line after this. Then line numbers is something. All right. This is the last call for discussion. All right, seeing none, looks like all of those have been added. We'll have some line later. But we'll send your note there. Yeah. Cool. Right. We'll now move into a roll call vote on Senate Bill 47, resolution clarifying how to introduce business in Article 1, Section 2 of ASUM House Rules. Secretary David, will you please take the roll call vote?
Senator Durnell.
Yes.
Senator Flanagan.
Yes.
Senator Fulton.
Yes.
Senator Gregory.
Yes.
Senator Hahn.
Yes.
Senator Hurley.
Yes.
Senator Jimmy.
Yes.
Senator Johnson.
Yes.
Senator Kalande.
Yes.
Senator Kiefer.
Yes.
Senator Medina.
Yes.
Senator Nelson.
Yes.
Senator Reen.
Yes.
Senator Rink.
Yes.
Senator Sladish.
Yes.
Senator Sharalo.
Yes.
Senator Thompson. Senator Wilmes.
Yes.
Senator Anderson.
Yes.
Senator Brennan.
Yes.
Senator Borgasani. Senator Corkish.
Yes.
Business Manager Parsons.
Yep.
President Belcher.
Yes.
23 to 0 to 0.
All right, resolution passes 23 to 0. Next, that moves me into my other, and I have a couple things. One, I did forget to mention this during ASUM committee expectations, but I will allow you to give ASUM committee reports tonight as long as it's just if you know the meeting time. Anything else, don't give it right now, just give the meeting time. I didn't really think that through clearly because I wanted meeting times established by the end of the week, but it's Wednesday today. And committee reports are due Tuesday. So if you have a meeting time set, please say it during committee reports. Any questions on that? Great. Second thing, the box resolution. So as I learned this meeting, it doesn't seem like there's a perfect transfer when you download the resolution from Box and when it appears on Microsoft Word. So I will try to fix that because I don't know for those of you that have used the resolution template, I don't know if when you download it, it automatically has line numbers on it. But I will try to upload a document to where if you download it, it will put line numbers on it because that's kind of a pain. If it doesn't do that, I will fix it, but I'll try to fix that tonight. Just be aware because Box is never anyone's friend. So just make sure that you're double checking on Microsoft Word so that we can have our meetings run smooth. Any questions? Great. The last one. So I said this during retreat, and I totally spaced it for the last 3 days, but I do have a ton of clips from our live stream, hyperlinked and timestamped, in case you want to watch past things about like the resolution and amendments and how they work during parliamentary procedure. Some of our discussions, like the emergency grant one, I have hyperlinked and timestamped. And then in addition, I have fall travel allocation hyperlinked and timestamped. So for those of you that have not seen the travel allocation period, I would highly suggest watching it. It's like 45 minutes long. It'll give you good insight into how the travel allocation period is done, even though last travel allocation period was done really smooth. I'll try to send that out to you by tomorrow. I just got to get all the documents and the hyperlinks in the email, and then I'll send it to the whole list. And then, yeah, Senator Flanagan. Cool. Any other questions about that? That is it for my other. Did anyone have anything else to discuss? Any other discussion? Last call. Cool. Seeing none, so ends the Vice President's report.
So begins business manager's report. All right.
Take a recess.
Yeah, we'll take a 5-minute recess.
Sounds great.
She's got a lot of
Okay. Other topics. So the second thing for this Melissa.
Anxious.
It's like very.
I'm Thank you. That's who I like to pull inspiration from.
So
It's like it's Laura Palmer from was like
No, those spirits, like, you remember? Oh, they used to come in like.
we have journalists and recognition that
Yay, there it is.
Yogurt has a good candy. It was fun.
Yeah.
Texas theory. Bring out the
No, it's a world grant.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say what's up. Hold your hand. I'm anxious.
Why are you anxious? You okay?
It's just being back here, man.
My arm is
anxious.
killing me.
Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie.
No, so I'm gonna get through this meeting and then I'm gonna go ice my hand because I feel
A
like
good
that.
choice.
Okay, I probably should not have come back so soon. So we're
You
gonna
could
figure this out.
get a bowl and get ice from the market and just type with me.
Or
gettable, and I said from
Well, I
Pizza
have to
Hut,
ice
and they're
this whole.
closed.
They're open until midnight.
I have to
Again,
ice
they're
this whole
very.
thing, and I don't think I can take minutes with this entire side of my body covered in ice.
Oh, honey,
Learn
Understand.
the one hand.
You saw me doing it. I was all like,
Oh,
I was like, he was still talking, and then he was asking me to do something. I was like,
There's another one, but I'm still on this, so I'll just add that.
no, I'm pushing myself. I'm also an official note taker now for someone
Oh,
in my class. Like they pay me to take her notes because I'm a preceptor. Like
I feel like someone should be taking notes for you, not you.
the TA can't do it because he's already getting paid for this from the school. And Kirsten doesn't want another student to do it. She wants me to do it. We already that's fine. Oh, but again, I'm overdoing it.
At least you get a little bit of money out of that, though.
I'm just like $30.
Yeah, it used to be $80, and then too many people signed up, and they're like, never mind, 30.
But it's still $30 more than I had, so we're
Yes.
Hi, sorry, I'm just looking at myself. Nothing. Just sticky notes always. Ethan, I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's
The committee requested an okay time to be like, hey, I wanna put this up
Yes,
there.
yes, that's.
Sick. Am I allowed to pass it around? Or do you want me to just put it up there?
I think you should probably just pass around, it's gonna, you can.
Sick.
What are we passing?
I have a thank you note from Linda Green.
Oh,
Well, not yet, but I'm gonna paint.
Do you want to
once
sign it for me?
everybody's
My handwriting still sucks.
done.
Wanna give it an old John Hancock right there. Get it. How have you been, Ben? Good. How have you been? Good. Oh,
Find the law schools, and with the rejection.
where did you apply?
USC, UC Irvine, George Washington University, University of Minnesota, Montana.
Did you apply to Columbia?
He's like, didn't even.
No.
I really like you were talking about that before. So.
With Columbia?
Yeah.
Good luck. But you're gonna.
Yeah, I got my
fine.
LSAT score back, so no.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, I was like, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe like the Montana kid. They're like, fuck it. We need one. Let's just go. But I don't want to pay. They also all those Ivy Leagues make you pay a lot to apply. Yeah. The amount's not checking out.
No, that's okay. When I applied to grad school, I got into my first choice and I didn't go because it was too expensive to live there. And it's one above us in the ranking. Like, I don't know if you know that the forensic anthropology program here just got ranked number 6 in the nation. Out of the top 12, number 6. This is a school that I was supposed to go to was top 5. And I was just like,
Now you have to say top 10 instead. Oh,
instead of top 5, I have to say top 10. And I was just like, well, but that's okay. I'm still super proud of us. We're only one above them. And I couldn't live in Boston.
Boston University, Boston College.
Boston University.
That is tough. It's tough.
It is.
Great campus, but right in the heart of downtown.
Right in the heart of downtown Boston. I was like, I can't go to school here. It's too expensive.
That's like that's only one of the 5 Methodist universities, isn't it? It's not many. I know they're affiliated.
You ready?
Yeah. All right, senators, please take your seats.
I'm sorry.
On Tuesdays and Thursdays, I have 7.5 hours of class straight. I don't have any breaks from 9:30 to 5. And I'm more tired than I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna try to drop one of them and then do an independent study instead. So at least have a little bit of break.
Can't think of any. My goodness.
I have to make a presentation.
How did you get those sets? Like,
99
Were those grab and go? Yeah.
Yes.
Those breadsticks are good.
I didn't see that.
No, Chuck's mic.
Sierra, from over here, it looked like you were carrying a carton of eggs, and I was like, that's weird.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started. So I'll just go and give you a brief overview of the financial accounts. So zero base, that's still at a fairly healthy reserve amount, $144,000. STIP accumulated about an extra $4,000 in interest since the last time you were here. Special allocation remains untouched. That one's used for the full year. Spring travel allocation has the $18,000 that we allot each semester. That's 50%, along with $1,500 that rolled over from last semester. Union emergency is still in touch for this year, and it's at a $6,000 cap. And no student groups have come to use the Denison Theater event funds yet. There are a few groups that are interested in looking at that, though. All right, so I did want to jump into a discussion about the spring travel account. So when we went and actually checked our books, student groups that were allocated funding for spring travel actually didn't use all of their funding, and a bunch of groups didn't plan on going. So there's actually about $8,000 that went unused that we allocated last semester. So I kind of want to talk to the Senate a little bit about this, but I was planning on having a discussion at the Board on Budget and Finance to try and figure out what to do with that money, or to have it roll over. Fiscal policy is a little unclear about what the travel account looks like in the spring. It just wants it split at 50%. So I thought we could have a discussion about it here if anyone's interested, or we can have a discussion at Board on Budget and Finance this Sunday. All right, seeing some non-discussion? Yeah.
Okay, I feel like we should just be using that $8,000 this semester and just put it in. I understand we have to have it 50-50, but if the money wasn't used, then why can't we use it for student groups that are using it this semester?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great point. The fiscal policy is unclear about it. That's why I want to have that discussion. Senator Janelle.
Sorry, that might have been the answer, but is BNF discussing possible policy changes from fiscal policy, or just the $8,000 in itself?
Not a change to fiscal policy, just where to put these funds. I was thinking of having the board vote on it. I didn't feel comfortable unilaterally just moving it back into zero base. That's my preference. I wanted it to go to the board to have a discussion. And then whatever the board decides, I think they can forward it on to the Senate, or if the Senate would like to see it at a later point, we can also do that. Senator Flanagan.
To clarify, when you say split 50-50, you can like 50% to zero base and 50% to spring travel.
So when I say 50-50, I mean the the travel allocation for the year. So there was about $36,000 in the account at the beginning of the year. $18,000 goes to fall travel, $18,000 goes to spring travel. So as you see, I put in the $1,500 that rolled over that we didn't allocate at all into the next semester. However, $8,000 of what we did allocate went unused, even though we had said you could use it for this. So fiscal policy is unclear about that $8,000, what to do with it. But yeah, we can have a broader discussion about that too. Senator Ring.
You kind of see more travel allocation requests in the spring than fall.
Yes, most definitely. That's when most student groups tend to travel. It's way more competitive than the fall. I think it's because student groups are a little more involved, or they know what they're doing for the rest of the year. Good question. Vice President Hanley.
So one thing I forgot to mention with the live stream is that last fall travel allocation was really, really good and went really, really smooth. And that's different from spring, because spring there is usually a significantly more amount of money being requested. And the different frameworks of the way people want to fund student groups really emerged during that. So it's going to be different in the spring, but you should still watch it.
All right, thank you, Vice President Hanley. Do we have any more discussion? All right, last call. All right, I'll make sure and keep you updated. Bless you. I'll make sure and keep you updated. However, BNF will also see this as an agenda item at their meeting this Sunday. If you're a new senator or just new to the body, I would welcome you to come to that. It's really cool. It is the most important committee at ASUM, so you might want to drop in. Senator Flanagan.
What are the deadlines for travel requests, and when are we going to see this?
Yeah, so the deadline for spring travel requests will be January 31st, so that's a Friday. I'm planning on having BNFC at that following Sunday, just moving the meeting time up, and then if they could get it dished out by the next week. So the following Thursday morning, student groups would have access to it. Senator Ring.
When and where is the BNF meeting?
Yes. So it's going to be 5 p.m. on Sunday, this Sunday, in the ASUM conference room. All right. Any more discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll make sure and keep you updated in what the board determines at the next meeting. So I left in this section for financial requests. We don't have any this week because Board on Budget and Finance didn't meet. However, I just wanted to add this in. So with the accounts above, student groups frequently throughout the semester request funds through here. So we'll see requests from Zero Base for budgets, STIP for equipment, special allocation for events, travel for travel. Union Emergency is a travel account that's reserved for our unions for when they want to travel. So typically throughout the week, we'll usually see about 2 or 3, sometimes upwards of 5. During spring travel, we'll probably see like 20. So that'll be a fairly busy meeting. But I just wanted to include that in there because that's usually the biggest portion of my report. But since BNF hasn't met yet, we don't have any today. All right. Any questions about financial requests? All right. Seeing none, I'll move on to my next agenda item. So this is SB 48. This is a resolution I decided to forward on within this report. And it's a resolution amending sections 9.6 and 9.8 of ASUM fiscal policy. So I'll go ahead and give my authorship on this one. Basically what this is just adding more flexibility to the final budgeting timeline within fiscal policy. As you can see, it says, so it just gives you more time to do it. It gives student groups more time to turn in their paperwork. Each year, the UM academic calendar seems to change, and we have to change fiscal policy every single year. So with this in mind, I try to add in language that could encapsulate more flexibility for future business managers, so we don't have to do this every single year. But that said, it's not much change. It's just pretty much giving student groups more time to turn in their stuff and just adding for more flexible language. So if there is any discussion, I'll now take it. Vice President Hammond.
Move to add a semicolon at the end of line 34 and line 63.
So there's a motion to add a semicolon to line 64.
Second.
And a motion to add a semicolon to line 63. Moved by Vice President Hanley, seconded by Senator Kiefer. I heard unanimous consent. Is there any objection or discussion? All right, seeing none, so it is approved. Senator Durnell.
Is this resolution in size 11 font?
Yes, it is.
And comma?
Yes, sir.
Move to amend the entire document to read size 12 in your own font.
Motion to change font to size 12 by Senator Durnell. I heard a second from Senator Johnston. Unanimous consent was called. Any discussion or objection? All right, seeing none, so it is approved. Give the secretary a second. Senator Corkish. Yep. So my speakers list is empty. Does anyone else have any more discussion? Last call for discussion. All right, seeing none, we'll now go into a roll call vote to approve this change to fiscal policy. Since this is a change to fiscal policy, this will require a two-thirds vote. And Secretary David, will you please do the roll call?
Senator Hurley.
Yes.
Senator Jimmy.
Yes.
Senator Johnston.
Aye.
Senator Kalanda. Senator Kiefer.
Yes.
Senator Medina.
Yes.
Senator Nelson. Senator Ream.
Yes.
Senator Ring.
Yeah.
Senator Sladish.
Yes.
Senator Torello.
Yes.
Senator Wilness.
Yes.
Senator Anderson.
Yes.
Senator Brennan.
Yes.
Senator Borgasani. Senator Corkish. Senator Durnell.
Yes.
Senator Flanagan.
Yes.
Senator Fulton.
Yes.
Senator Gregory. Senator Hahn.
Yes.
Vice President Hanley.
Yep.
President Belcher.
Yes.
21-0-0.
So that passes, the resolution passes 21-0-1. All right, thank you. So now we'll go ahead and move on to committee reports. I do just have a few, just some meeting times. So as previously stated, BNF will be meeting at 5 p.m. this Sunday in the ASUM conference room. Also, next week, Pub Board will be meeting at Wednesday, 2 p.m. in the ASUM conference room as well. Pub Board will be extremely important this semester because that's where we actually go to hire the Kaiman editor. That's basically the whole purpose of this committee, along with the business manager as well of their the Kaiman as well. So I would ask for any input. I believe there's job postings out there, so just spreading the word and making it so we have a diverse applicant pool. Radio Board will be meeting at 1 p.m. on Mondays, starting the first week. Again, this is another hiring committee for the general manager of KBGA. So again, I would ask if you know of anyone who's interested in college radio or applying to that type of work, I'd encourage that as well. And I have the job postings to share and circulate, so if you know of anyone who might be interested, get the word out. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll be attending the University Budget Committee. We'll be overviewing, or we'll be going over some of the proposals for the budget upcoming. So it should be pretty sexy and cool stuff. If anyone's interested in going or has any thoughts about what the university should do with its budget, I would welcome any and all advice or concerns that you may have. Senator Johnson.
What time and where is that?
Yep, so the University Budget Committee meets at 2 p.m. In University Hall 004.
Thank you.
All right, and I believe that's all I had for committee reports. If anyone has any discussion at this point, go ahead and ask. Oh, Senator Slavich.
What day does it meet, the one for the university budget?
Tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, any more discussion? All right, seeing none, we'll go ahead and move on to my next agenda item. So this section is titled Birthdays. This is a time of the meeting where I would typically have treats for the senators. However, I did not check my sheet before coming to this meeting. But I know Senator Sladich had a birthday January 3rd over winter break. So I'll make sure next week to bring you your birthday treat. And I'll also be passing out the sheet for our new senators. So Senator Gregory and Senator Medina, please put down a birthday. If you don't have a birthday this semester, pick a fake birthday, your favorite treat, and I'll make sure and bring you something tasty. All right. Any more discussion on birthdays? All right. Seeing none, we'll move into my other. I did want to briefly touch on final budgeting absences. So this is one of the most important times of the year. This is where we get to actually interact with our student groups, get them funding. It's extremely important that you be there if you can. So that said, if you do know you can't make a formal lobbying session, or if you're going to be gone during final budgeting right now, please let me know by January 31st. At that point, I will still grant excusals if you know you have something. If I receive anything after that that is not a family or a medical emergency, I will not excuse it. So if it's something like a midterm and you tell me a week after, I'll say, too bad, you knew you had a midterm prior to this. So I am going to be a bit strict on this, but I think it's very, very, very important that we give our student groups the time to overview their budgets and allow senators to provide valuable input in there. So that said, if you do know that you're going to have some time conflicts or absences during the final budgeting timeline, please let me know before the end of the month. You know my email, so just go ahead and do that. All right, I don't have anything else in my other. Is there any more discussion from the body, though? Does anyone want to challenge my absence policy? Oh, just Vice President Hanley? Okay, cool. All right, with that ends the business report.
And so opens committee report. Let's go on. All right, I do have one committee report up there, so sorry, keep them up. I haven't seen any of them. I got Fulton, Brennan, Con, Keithler, and
Like us.
I got you plenty. All right, there's the one committee report, Senator Fulton.
Okay, so I have three. So the first one is for the College of Arts and Media Dean Search. Currently, we have our tiers of pools, and we're going to start doing interviews next week on Monday through Wednesday. After that, then we are hopefully bringing candidates in on the first and second week of February, and then hopefully we'll have our dean hired by March. My second one is I have my meeting with Kathy Cole on Thursday, and this semester her and I are going to attack our When I Grow Up campaign. So for those of you that don't know what that is, what the When I Grow Up campaign was her and I just chit-chatting out of nowhere. We thought of the idea of what if we had our non-traditional students and or professors who have children, and we would be videoing the children and be like, my mom is a professor, or my mom's a lawyer, or my dad is like a plastic surgeon. Or we would have our kids, and then we would zoom to the parents of where they would actually put the parents doing their field work. And then that would be a huge campaign across the entire state and across the nation to where students would see like these kids are inspired by their parents and inspired to actually go to the University of Montana. And my third one is, this is going to be a long one because Gen Ed, we went way over our time today. So first of all, our Gen Ed workshop for like professors that can understand what a Gen Ed course is and how it applies is on the 27th in LA 332. I believe that's where it is. Our main discussion came from the a course called Medical and Public Health Ethics, which is 475. The main reason why it was a huge discussion point today was due to the fact that it's a UC course, it's an undergraduate and graduate course. The big argument came from when we read the description of the course, it basically stated where you had to know basically every single health theory and be able to apply it into your life. And because there's the fact that it's not there's no prerequisite, and the fact that it's also targeted towards graduate students, that's really we're having a major issue with making this Gen course. Currently, it's just postponed until next meeting. Also, we are having the course doc people come the third week of February. So if you want to meet them, they're going to come to Gen Ed, and we're going to have a meeting with them. So y'all are welcome to come. Also, for those of you that have still not received your math Gen Ed, if you are currently testing in the top 2 or honors top 2 that will no longer count as a math Gen Ed, you have to take Calc 1 before you can actually take that course. And the fact that you have already been taking Calc 1 or honors Calc 1, that's already been math credits, so they won't be counting those classes as math credits towards your Gen Ed. Also, we talked about Math 104 and Math 118. These math courses are designed more towards journalism majors and music majors. And the reason why we talked about this is because Math 104 has not been taught since 2017, and Math 118 has not been taught since spring of 2018. And the concern was the head of the math department, Nathan, he was very concerned of offering these courses due to the fact of the lack of funding and the lack of people there to actually teach the courses. But certainly that's also postponed for us to vote on next meeting due to the fact that these courses are essential for music and journalism majors, because I don't think a music major wants to take Algebra 1 or Calc 1 if they don't want to. Also, so the Gen Ed committee was charged with reviewing the reviews for general Gen Ed courses. That's due for us on the 25th before noon, so that's next Friday. So basically what that document stated was the Gen Ed of how Gen Ed's defined and how we view it as. So everyone on the committee was charged with that. It's on docs if you want to see it. And we also were charged to look over the revision form again. So that's also due on the 25th for us. And then we are having a retreat in March to go over everything. And I was told it was going to be an all-day meeting. So, yay. And that's my committee reports.
I'm on the committee now. I do have a couple questions for you.
Yes.
Senator Hurley? Sorry. Okay. President Belcher.
Thank you, Senator Fulton, for a very thorough committee report. Your committee report reminded me of a critical announcement that I forgot to make in my report. Kathy Cole has sent over a pretty big envelope full of swag to the office. It's at the reception desk. There's lanyards, several stickers, pop sockets, and phone wallets in there. So make sure you're picking stuff up.
This is Mayor Parsons.
Disclaimer, ASUM does not accept bribes.
Senator Brennan.
Hello, everyone. I am going to be making a thank you note for Linda Green and her very wonderful presentation that she gave to us. If anybody who wasn't here wants to get the slides from that, please email me and I'm happy to share them. Also, I'm looking at tentatively scheduling our mental health education and advocacy
meetings for Thursdays after 5. This is tentative, just wanted to let you guys know while I'm here and while you're all here, if anybody wanted to come. So if anyone would like to sign this, and it's a little bit further there, please pass it around. Please only sign on the inside of it, because I'm gonna do some decorating on it. That's all.
Senator Hahn.
Yeah, the University Library Committee met on Monday, and Dean Brown informed us that they're waiving overdue fines for the general collection for students. So one method to eliminate debt, they also extended the checkout period for undergrad students to match that of grad students, so we should be able to access the collection for longer periods of time. The Mansfield Center is going to be expanding its suite space in the library. They didn't have too many details, but that was an announcement that should be coming down the pipeline. And an interesting observation, they altered the bathrooms on level 3 when you walk from the Mansfield Library to be single-use, non-gender neutral bathrooms. So that's it, thanks.
Senator Slattery, did you have a question for him?
Oh,
You just want to be added to the main list?
what?
You just want to be added to the main list?
Main list, yeah, sorry.
You're already on the main list. Did you have a question? Okay, Flanagan. Senator Slattery, do you want to use your, if you want to use your laptop, you have to ask for a personal photo, which one of the speakers list. All right. Senator Flanagan.
Senator Hahn, when you say suite space and expanding it, can you just clarify what that means exactly?
Yeah, the Mansfield Center is currently located on the 4th floor, and they do occupy some space. They do need to expand. Dean Brown didn't have any particular details, just that there would be an announcement and more coming soon, but that's in the works.
Any other questions for Senator Hahn? Senator Kiefer.
Okay, International Council, newly renamed, met this week. I'm very excited for all the stuff that they're doing. So one of the things we approved was a partnership with Northwestern Polytechnical University, which is in Jian, China. It's central China. It's one of the 8 agreements that we have with universities in China. We're trying to get more of those. We have a large international student body that comes from China. We have about 100 students each year come from China. And we have about 10 students from UM go to China each year, so we're looking to help balance that out a little. Another really important agreement that we voted on and passed was the Malmo Conservatory of Music from Lund University in Sweden. We don't have any current partner agreements in Sweden, and partner agreements are really important because it allows students to pay their home tuition and then just pay the room and board internationally. That's what I did, and it makes it way more affordable. And this is also very important because we have a huge lack of exchange opportunities for music majors or music education folks. And in Sweden, especially Lund University is one of the top 3 universities in Sweden. People study for 5 or 6 years to just be able to start their undergraduate music degrees. So it would be great if we had more Swedish students coming over. And yeah, we are also working on stuff with global engagement, and I'm really looking forward to this one.
Senator Anderson. Yeah.
So JADO is going to be meeting on Fridays at 12:30. We're going to be meeting for about 45 minutes in the ASUM conference room, and GPSC is going to be meeting at 8:30 in the morning at the law school on Tuesdays. So if you guys are interested in any of those things, come and join us.
Senator Flanagan.
The director for Pacific Scholarships search just finished our first round of interviews for reach qualified candidates. Very impressed with what we have. We're going to be doing our second round here pretty soon. Really great working with PhD. And then more on the organizations is going to be Tuesdays at 5 in the office.
Senator Hurley.
Great, so I had a meeting this week regarding the Digital Accessibility Committee that I will now be sitting on. Those meetings start once a month, and the first meeting will be on January 23rd. That's next Thursday at 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So time. I'm going to sit on one of those and see how to come and look. We're given questions or any problems you'd like me to bring to the committee in regards to digital accessibility. I would be happy. Also, if you have any questions about our charges or committees, for committee objectives, I would be happy to.
Senator Slavich.
I am now sitting on the new student orientation committee, and we met on Tuesday and kind of just did like a review of orientation in the fall, and we're just kind of looking at areas that we can improve on, and it looks like we're gonna have about a month of we're redoing the process for bear tracks, and we, I think about like 8 bear tracks after me, a lot of young days, and the superintendent that is also on.
Cool. Any more committee reports? Any more committee reports? Last call. All right, seeing none, we will now move into unfinished business. And we will be starting with Senate Bill 45. I'm going to give Secretary David a minute to pull that one up. I'm going to give authorships first again. So I'm going to ask who wants to give their authorship first. Yeah, sure, go ahead. Senator Nelson.
Yeah, so similar to in the last meeting, we had that resolution laid out what the Constitution's supposed to look like based on the proposed changes that are going to be coming forward as student votes. I did this in the future, next year, definitely. The executives have the new Constitution on like place within the Constitution, a separate document that is significant. That being said, I am going to make a motion to send this resolution back to committee, as we haven't seen in the 6th article and the changes in the 4th article. And the changes that were made in the last meeting are fairly extensive, and I would like to do this in the entirety, which is something that a long time ago.
Cool. And also the reason why this isn't in your binders is because it's like 16 something pages long. So yeah, Senator Anderson.
Move to send resolution back to committee.
Second.
All right, so there's been a motion by Senator Anderson to send it back to committee, seconded by Senator Nelson.
Yes.
Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? All right, seeing none, resolution has been sent back to committee. We'll now move into impeachment proceedings. So there's a couple things I'm going to talk about first before I hand the gavel off, as I indicated in my email earlier today. The first thing, we're going to do authorships before we take. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
So when you sent out the email, I was currently done it, and I think the chance to get next question, so you have to read the document.
I will say it again, and President Belcher will give an overview of it again. So that was just kind of a preface. If you didn't read it, it's not the biggest deal in the world. First, I'm going to talk about the impeachment. So Senator Trial was up for impeachment. 3 unexcused absences directly on the nose. So he was put up for impeachment, as well as 2.5 excused absences, just as an FYI. And yeah, so now I'm going to talk about the process about this whole impeachment and removal deal. And then we will go on from there, and I will hand the gavel off to President Belcher. She will give an overview, and then we will proceed with a procedure that will be a little different than how is actually laid out in the document, for the fact that it's not possible to carry out the procedure exactly. So as I indicated in my email, in Article 1, Section 3 of the ASUM House Rules, it states that if a chair has a serious conflict of interest in chairing an impeachment proceeding, then that the chair should be handed off first to the president, and then in accordance with the line of succession, as according to Article 3, Section 5 of the ASUM Constitution. And the reason why the word serious is used in there is because we could all have a conflict of interest, or I will have a conflict of interest in chairing everyone's impeachment, because we all know each other. We're all colleagues here. The reason why I have a serious conflict of interest here and why I'm choosing to hand the chair off to President Belcher in this case is because the senator in question, we were in the same fraternity together, and we had a pretty close relationship there. And per that, I kind of deemed that necessary to hand the chair off to President Belcher. I was kind of in between of whether I needed to hand the chair off or not, but just to play it safe, I thought it would be best just to hand the chair off to President Belcher. I will be abstaining from this, and I will not be discussing. But yeah, then the way that the procedure is going to look like is that because Senator Gluckert is not here and she was the one who seconded the motion for impeachment, there will be no authorship given by the seconder and there will be no response given from the senator up for impeachment. However, the senator that is up for impeachment is welcome to discuss during the impeachment. We had to consult with our legal counsel as well as our office manager in the best way to proceed since the seconder wasn't here. This was the recommendation given to us. And there's really not a guideline outlined in parliamentary procedure in the best way to proceed from this. So that's why we're kind of going with this. It's just kind of the best way for us to keep the process and the integrity in check for the impeachment proceedings. Yeah, and then the way that's going to work is we do an impeachment discussion, we vote, it's a 2/3 vote. Someone motions for removal, there's a second. We go into the same exact procedure that we used this time during impeachment, except the seconder will give an authorship because hopefully the seconder will still be here by the end of the meeting. And then we will go through discussion, vote, 2/3 to remove the senator, and then there is no student vote to remove the senator from their seat. They're just automatically removed. It has to clear those two hurdles first in order for the senator to be removed. Does anybody have questions for me before I hand the chair off to President Belcher? All right, all yours.
All right, I'm getting my chairing practice in tonight. So before I take speakers, I'm just going to go over some of the framework that I will be using in chairing this discussion. Discussion about the following will be allowed: the senator in question's ability to contribute to ASUM, whether or not they can attend Senate meetings, committee meetings, and office hours, whether or not the Senate missed important discussions or didn't contribute to student advocacy as a result of these absences. The following will not be allowed, and I will call the quorum if it is discussed: whether or not you agree with the senator's political views, whether you take issue with a certain vote from the senator, whether or not you have a personal conflict with the senator, and then one additional one that was not mentioned in the email is specific mention by name or identifiable aspects of a previous or current senator that may have been in a similar situation about impeachment. We may, however, discuss the general trends of impeachment in ASUM and past practices, but if I hear a specific name or situation, I will call decorum. The reason for this is because I want to keep the discussion centered around the senator's absences, which is the reason for the impeachment tonight, and the effects that they could have on the organization, and nothing further. What I'm going to do is allow Senator Anderson to give her authorship, allow Senator Tarallo to respond, and then I will open general discussion. Senator Anderson, your authorship.
So I motion for impeachment because I feel pretty strongly about absences being able to show up to your work. I view ASUM being a senator as like a job. And if you're not showing up to your job, you're not being the best advocate for students that you can be. I think we all go through the first set of voices, and each one of them is unique and adds something to the conversation. And I think that's just as important in committees where we do a bulk of our work. The other reason is because there's quite frankly very little reason to get unexcused absences, in my opinion. A lot of the chairs that I know, including the chair of the Senate, is pretty understanding when it comes to reasons you can't perform your duties, whether it's emergencies, whether you break something, and they're pretty willing to work with everyone. So in my opinion, it's just to get to 3 is just kind of unexcusable, and if you're not doing your job and serving the students when you're not here. So.
Senator Tarallo.
I guess I'd just like to say that I apologize for those unexcused absences. They were the result of silly mistakes on my part. I'm not perfect, but I'm doing everything I can to organize myself better and curtail similar problems in the future. I apologize for any problems that my absence may have caused. I'd like to continue serving on as a senator, but I understand if you would not like to see me here anymore. But I guess that's all I have to say.
Would anyone like to participate in general discussion? Senator Flanagan.
So I think we can all agree that absences and I'm glad that we're having a discussion about
Senator Flanagan, will you please start over and speak up?
Yeah, for sure. I think we can all agree that absences are not a good thing. I'm glad that we're having a discussion about this and how to enforce them. I will admit that in the past, I do not move in passing, I did not make any motions in passing impeachment proceedings. And I think that was a mistake. And that being said, I don't think that I am bound to that precedent, and I don't think that anywhere in the governing documents we're bound to the precedent. I don't think anywhere in the governing documents it states that we're bound to any precedent that we set in Senate meetings, meaning that I don't think I'm bound to the state that I'm making it not moving past impeachment proceedings. So therefore, I won't really be considering it to talk about past impeachment proceedings in this discussion today. That being said, I think we can all agree also that absence policy is a big deal. We should, as has been mentioned, we should be taking it seriously. Otherwise, we're kind of delegitimizing our positions. Personally, what I'm looking for in today's impeachment proceedings, and what will influence my vote the most is it's very similar to how this is going to be chaired. I want to hear about the absences, why the person was absent, why it was unexcused, and whether it would be a continuing issue.
Senator Johnston?
First off, ASUM is not a job. You all signed up here willingly, do this for free. However you take that, you all signed up here to do it for free. You all signed up here to work hard, you all can sign up to advocate for students. But your time availability does not equal your effectiveness to advocate for students. I was busy as heck last semester, and I tried really hard to advocate for students. Now, that is my personal thing, and I don't want to take consideration, but if you work 50 hours a week, like some people in this body, and you're still attending community meetings, you're advocating for students. If you're taking 7 credits and you're advocating for students, that's not you're still advocating for students. It doesn't matter how much time you have available, you're still advocating for students. It's not affecting staff. I think the Senator in question has done a very good job of advocating for students. And furthermore, please take a step back and put yourself in Iowa's on a student. Do you think it'd be the same situation? If not, then why are we having this discussion here after the next slide? So these things about the
Senator Anderson?
Yeah, so we do sign up, we have duties. We have things that we are required to do for our governing jobs. If you're not here, you're not advocating for students. If you're not here, you're not able to do your duties under the Constitution that we pledge to uphold when we take our oath as senators. Additionally, we are all busy. That is not anything new. Yeah, we all volunteer because we're all passionate about the issue, but we are all busy. Some of us are parents. Some of us are taking multiple credits. Some of us have jobs. Some of us are doing all of the above in addition to all of our committee stuff, but we're still able to make it. And I think that by allowing absences to go not disciplined or unenforced is setting a really bad precedent because it's showing people that what we do is okay if we don't show up. It's okay if we don't, let our chairs know or let the vice president know that we're not going to be at a meeting. It's okay. It doesn't matter. It's not a big deal when in fact it actually is, because that's one less voice, and that's one less diverse opinion on this body that's getting heard, and that's one group of students that's not getting advocated for. So I think that there needs to be a way to discipline that, and this is the Senate's way. So.
Senator Durnell?
Yeah. One of the new core values I was at the beginning of the semester, beginning of last semester, was accountability. And I believe that tonight's proceedings is directly attributed to a lack of accountability, because your attendance is part of your accountability if you are a senator. And I'm also concerned that a lot of people would be contradicting that newly set core value of no on the impeachment proceedings. As a musician, I have so many rehearsals. It's not a statement about being busy, but I have chamber groups with like 5 people, 2 people. If one person doesn't show up, we can't effectively rehearse. The results of that absence, the consequence is just not performing our best. And that is usually incentive enough for those people to show up on their own and contribute what they should be contributing. When that's not incentive enough, for them to contribute to the overall thing, then there has to be an enforceable action for them to realize a consequence, whether that's grades or dismissal or whatnot. And that's just one other example of how accountability and absences plays a key role in any situation, but especially in setting when we're advocating for a whole student body. And I was really off and on about this, but accountability is one of the things I hold extremely, extremely high. I hold that high standard of myself and to others. I'm not willing to contradict that value.
Vice President Hanley.
Okay, sorry, I said I was going to recuse myself from the discussion, but I missed a couple things. So one, to the previous senator's point about absences, so the specific things that the senator missed were the retreat, which is 2 unexcused absences, the first RNA meeting of the year, which I believe was September 2nd, and then the last, or not the last, but the November 19th meeting of RNA, which added up to exactly 3 unexcused absences. Also, the other reason this is, I just got this point out too, the other reason why I'm not sharing is because Senator Terrell was my little in my fraternity, and that's why I thought it did over the bounds or serious conflict of interest. I forgot to clarify that. So,
Senator Flanagan.
Question for the chair: would it be considered deliberate to ask the person that's up for impeachment about the absences?
No. Go ahead. Would you like a follow up?
Yeah. Senator Terrell, do you want the chair to explain the absences and sort of give us some insight on why you were absent?
Yeah. So the first 2 absences, or first 2 full absences, were a result of missing fall retreat. I misunderstood Vice President's email. I thought the quote-unquote makeup retreat was enough. I guess I didn't realize that we had to communicate that we'd be showing up for that one. I thought it was more of an opportunity to learn more. Then right after that, for the first half absence, was the very first meeting of RNA. That was just me not seeing the email about when it would be scheduled. And then the second one was again from another RNA meeting. This was when we were adding RNA meetings to account for the huge number of bills that we were seeing that week. So we were scheduling different meeting times, and I was just not alerted to, or at least I didn't see the alert of this new meeting time from time. And by the time I was aware of it, it was simply too late. I was busy, week finally coming up, and so obviously I went to mail for the Facebook Messenger. Again, I will get more on top of that in the future. After the fact, for both, I apologize. I don't want to make this, who I'm known for, but that's just the truth of the matter.
Senator Nelson.
The first thing I want to talk about is the idea of accountability. This was a core value that I asked to increase within our set of core values. And I think we all missed the boat in the first impeachment, or none of us made the motion. I think that would have been the more appropriate time to discuss the idea of accountability and missing meetings and the importance of attending committee meetings and Senate meetings and things like that. To now apply that a separate set of standards in this case seems like an extreme double standard to me that is almost entirely qualified on the character of this senator versus the fact of absences. I would really like for any senator to point me to a single instance in which this senator's absence was deeply harmful to their ability to advocate for students. And so I see a specific instance in which their absence severely hindered our ability to commit to our values and to our duties. I'm not willing to vote to because I think this is a double standard that is based on the character of the senator, not based on absences. Further, in the past and beyond this semester and previous years, we have real difficulties in impeaching senators, largely because senators are valuable, even if they make mistakes, even if they miss committees and miss senators and miss committees. And to that point, I would say that this senator is a valuable body. But I have deep and severe disagreements with the senator
and beneficiaries.
Dilatory.
Okay, but I think what they contribute in terms of advocacy is different points of view, and on certain issues is something that not a lot of us can pull out.
Senator Johnston.
Please correct me if I'm wrong, I'm going to is the senator up impeachment to two absences from this college and then the makeup section of that, which I think that shows right there that if they would have, I don't know how you can reconcile that maybe one of the examples behind it, one of the procedures to get what are those procedures for makeup. I don't necessarily see why those two absences from this college and then go into the makeup should hinder that movie because without those two, they would be up one. But if we can follow up.
Yes.
What is the procedure for?
So typically, the ideal goal is that no senators would miss retreat. And when senators miss retreat, it takes time out of the beginning of my fall semester to do makeups. So I did 4 different makeups for 9 senators, which took an approximate 11 hours to do. And that is a significant amount of time for me to orient senators after the fall retreat. And that's part of the reason why the retreat absence threshold is so high, because when you have to do those makeups, they take a lot of time. And then the other thing too is you miss out on a lot of stuff too, because some of the stuff that I had to do makeup sessions for, you can't get that in a makeup session because you can't do a practice committee meeting or a practice senate meeting during a makeup session. So that's part of the reason why the impeachment threshold is so high.
Thank you.
Senator Fulton.
Yeah, so I've been very torn on this specific senator's impeachment. But to go back to an earlier statement, when it came down to our last RNA meeting, the one that the senator in question missed, I still made the meeting and I was 9 hours away. We were all informed, and the senator in question filled out the poll of when we could meet, where we could all be in the room. And not all of us could be there. I could not be there due to horrible roads, and I didn't want to die. And I was able to make it work because even though there's 6 people on this body who don't view this as a job, I view this as a job because we put so much training effort into this. And the fact that we have to do what we have to do, and the way that they're not able to they weren't able to make that due to the fact that they weren't willing to find a different way to make it to that meeting. I feel like it also falls under accountability. And this information, I wasn't going to share this, but I feel like it's actually very present to this situation. Earlier today, I had a FaceTime call with previous Senator Piper, and we were talking about the impeachment proceedings tonight.
Senator Fulton, in the future, please refrain from naming senators other than the senator up for impeachment, but you may continue your story.
And the information he shared was when he asked for an excused absence for interview, he found out later that night that he wasn't quote like the excuse that he used, and he went out and did some other things. That itself shows not being accountable, and I cannot condone that whatsoever.
Senator Urkish.
Yeah, I just want to bring my 2 cents in. I love having conversations about whether or not we should use people for something that is done. That is
Senator Urkish, can you please speak up?
Yeah. So until someone decides to change the policies regarding impeachment, away from attendance, because apparently, this seems to come up every time we have this. We need to follow what's written in our House bills, that's straight up how the Senate runs and how we run everything else. The emotional section would make a difference, we want this to follow.
Okay, and before I call the next speaker, Vice President Haley can interrupt me if I'm not allowed to do this, but I'm going to retroactively rule the information provided by Senator Fulton dilatory because that was not one of the absences included on the impeachment. But thank you for going out and working on this matter outside of meeting time. Senator Scott. Business manager. Oh, Senator Toronto.
So just to clarify this, then I can also respond to it.
You are, if I ruled it dilatory for Senator Fulton, so if you speak on it, I will also rule it dilatory. Senator Sledge.
Yo.
Senator Anderson.
Yeah, so I have been on the Senate for 2 years. I have seen 4 impeachment proceedings on the agenda. I have voted for every single one. They have all been for, with the exception of the one in the fall. They have always been for absences because I feel very strongly. Can I say why I didn't do it third?
You can say
In
why if it has
generalizations?
something to do with your opinions about impeachment in general, but you may not reference any circumstance regarding a specific person.
Okay. This is the forum, let me know. Don't think it's from the things for me. I didn't agree with one of the absences, so that is why I didn't motion the first time. I don't think that that's a precedent that we set. We have always, in the 2 years that I've been here, motioned and had or tried to have these discussions about impeachment proceedings with other senators when they haven't shown up to do their jobs. So I think actually by not doing it, we'd be setting an even more dangerous precedent by basically excusing it and saying it's not a big deal to us.
Senator Flanagan.
Question for the execs: if somebody were to give you prior notice of one missing retreat, would that be an excused absence, or would it still be excused?
Well, most of them were unexcused because retreat was extremely important. Typically, what I tried to do was, if it was really an unbearing circumstance, I would split it as an excused and an unexcused. So you get one excused, one unexcused absence. Like if it was a time conflict, or maybe you were finishing up a summer class and you had a final over the weekend. The reason why I gave Senator Turallo 2 unexcused absences was because there was no communication with me prior to retreat.
Yeah, follow-up.
Yes.
Was the senator made aware that he was given 2 unexcused absences when this happened?
I didn't lay that out in the emails, but I sent about 17 emails over the summer explicitly stating that if you can't come to retreat, reply so that I'm aware. And then, I didn't lay it out specifically that you get 2 unexcused absences if you missed retreat.
So I'm just going to add a point of information that typically the absence policy is presented at the retreat. Senator Vargasani.
Yo.
Senator Turallo.
Yeah.
Senator Durnell.
Yo.
Senator Johnson.
Yo.
Senator Nelson.
Also, section 3, section A says any officer or member of the Senate may be impeached for. When it says may, it doesn't imply that we must or that we have to impeach a senator based on absences. This is a choice that we all make. It's a choice that we made earlier in the semester not to do this, and it's a choice that I'll be making yet again not to do this because again, nobody can point to me a specific instance in which this senator's absence deeply affected our ability to advocate for students and deeply harmed our institutional leadership.
Senator Flanagan.
Another question for the execs, just to clarify, we cannot discuss excused absences.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Johnson.
Yeah, so to build up what Senator Nelson said, we have had, this is for fall semester, so we've had a previous one in general last fall semester, and the senators that currently sat on there, none of them made a vote to do such a thing. I don't care if they agree or disagree with the reason, but if the absences are what you are bearing your plea on, it was the same 3 absences with 3 absences. I don't understand why this 3 absences is worth more or less than the previous 3 absences. So that's what I am voting on this.
Senator Fulton.
Yeah, so to bounce off of a previous senator's sentiments, that last RNA meeting, if I did not FaceTime him, we would not have had form, which meant we would not have seen any of the documents, any of the constitutional referenda. So we would not have seen any of that. So that means it would have been on our meeting.
Point of order, I don't need to be staring at me.
I'm sorry, I was looking at my speakers list and did not see the incident, but if I do see any other senators being rude to other senators in the future, I will continue.
Yeah, that's where I feel like it could have potentially not worked, because we would have been seeing all of the constitutional referenda tonight instead of last meeting.
Senator Flanagan.
So as it currently stands, I probably be abstaining from this vote, and I really don't want to, I feel like I'm saying in very one body. I very much somebody to try to explain maybe something to go off of here. As it stands, I really go off of one way or another. All the talk about precedent really doesn't, I'm sorry, but I don't see anywhere in the fruit outside precedent in the government documents. I haven't really been given a good reason on why we shouldn't be outside precedent. That being said, I've heard very good arguments both ways. I hope we can continue to have a very civilized discussion about this.
I am not having my speakers list, but I will be enacting recency. Senator Burnett.
Yeah. Regarding the previous impeachment proceedings, the reason I did not proceed with any motions was because I was just new and intimidated, frankly. And I do believe in a strict absence policy. I do it in my personal life too. However, based off of the discussion given after my previous comments, I'm just not convinced that this body is actually voting without bias, and that's extremely unfair to the senator up for impeachment. And I had no intention to promote that, and I'll be voting no. Actually, thank you.
Senator Sladich.
I'm seeing both sides of the argument, and they're both very valid. However, nobody's perfect, and I'm not, and I understand that people make mistakes, and they miss things and forget things. We're only human, and we mess up and slip up. However, I would understand that that could be a slippery slope for impeachment in the future because of say just making exceptions and making excuses, but at the same time, I sympathize with the senator up because I understand that humans make mistakes and we mess up and we forget things. So that's where I stand on that. And then I would understand if that could be a slippery slope.
Senator Anderson.
So the difference between this one and last one was notice. So it was communicated that a previous senator upper
Decorum. Please do not discuss any person's specific situation that is not up for impeachment.
Okay. So notice being given is extremely important. It's one of the reasons that this is a thing. We have to respect each other's time. And if RNA can't have quorum because the members don't show up and they don't give notice to the chair, then there were 17 bills that wouldn't have been seen. There were 17 bills that members of this body took the time and energy to write and send to committee and show up for that wouldn't have been able to be voted on and forwarded to the Senate because there wouldn't have been a quorum. RNA is one of the most important committees on this body. It sees everything. All of our resolutions go through RNA. So if they don't have quorum, that is a huge impact on the students. It's a huge impact on this body and our ability to function. So I would just like everyone to keep that in mind. We are all human, I agree. We all miss things. We all have things come up. I am a parent, I understand. My child gets sick, I have to be there. But the difference is you have to let other people know. And if you can't even give the same basic courtesy to your chairs or your vice president that you will not be attending and explain why, I think you need to be held accountable for that, because it takes no time to send an email and say, hey, I won't be there today, I have this thing going on. If I get the unexcused, I get the unexcused. If you don't, you don't. It is really that simple. It just comes down to letting your chairs know and being respectful of others' times and making sure our committees can function and do their jobs, which they can't do if members don't show up and they don't have quorum, which it was dangerously close to, and probably one of the most important RMA meetings of the semester. It's nothing personal. It's just this is how we have to hold each other accountable. And if we're not doing this, we're not doing our jobs.
Senator Wilmes?
Yes, Senator Troll, will you yield the question?
Yes, I'll yield all questions.
Okay. Well, one thing that's kind of that I'm kind of stuck on is in what might sway my vote anyway is what do you plan to do differently this semester that's going to
Just overall trying to be better organized. I'm always trying to keep myself as much as possible. I'll be checking for instance, the Relations and Affairs group chat and my email as often as possible. I'm going to try and block out specific time to do that, as well as just checking it whenever I have a downtime. Because that was basically why I didn't go to those, why I was asking, because I just didn't check my notifications. And that is something that I'm just trying to improve on.
Senator Nelson?
On the topic of that Relations and Affairs Committee meeting on November 19th, yes, it was a period in which we're seeing a lot of resolutions, but we broke up seeing those resolutions over 3 separate meetings, meaning we did not see all 17 resolutions in one meeting. I think in that meeting, in addition, there are many members on RNA, and so I think placing the inability to see all of those resolutions on one sender, especially when we did reach form in the end, is incredibly unfair. And even if we had not had quorum that night, moving 5 resolutions to the next meeting to have one after that, I think would have been perfectly acceptable. So I think the argument that, oh, this sender not making this one RNA meeting like destroys our ability to conduct ourselves in ASUM is a big
Senator Johnston?
Yield.
Senator Tarallo?
Yield.
Senator Flanagan?
Question for Senator Troll. In any way you see perhaps as having harm or legitimate participation or causing student happiness? Personally, no.
Okay, I have no one left on my speakers list. Would anyone else like to get added to the speakers list? Senator Rink?
I would just like to say, there's been a lot of pretty consistent notions around student advocacy and bias to the senator in question. I think it would be important to point out that the general mindset of the Senate is fairly uniform in a lot of ways, and the senator in question actually probably represents a larger sector of the student population.
Decorum. Please don't discuss someone else's views. You may continue if you have something else to say. All right, would anyone else like to get on my speakers list? Last call. Senator Tarallo.
I guess I'd just like to say one more time before we go. Again, I apologize. That's it.
All right, we will now move into a roll call vote on whether or not to impeach Senator Tarallo. Secretary David?
Parliamentary votes.
Senator Johnston.
What does a yea vote indicate?
A yes vote indicates that you are voting to impeach the senator in question. A no vote indicates that you will be voting not to do so. And it is a 2/3 vote threshold. Senator Tarallo.
What should I do when you get in?
You should abstain.
I know that. I just meant like, how do you want? You just want me to not say anything or just stay in place?
Just say the word.
You can't vote. It's in our house rules that you can't vote. So.
No, I know. I'm just asking how to.
Just say
The
the
secretary
word.
won't call your name.
I'm gonna call your name. Okay, any more questions about the vote? Secretary David? Senator Medina.
No.
Senator Nelson.
No.
Senator Ream.
No.
Senator Rink.
No.
Senator Sladish.
No.
Senator Wilmes.
No.
Senator Anderson.
Yes.
Senator Brennan.
Yes.
Senator Borgasani.
Abstain.
Senator Corkish.
Yes.
Senator Janelle.
No.
Senator Flanagan.
Abstain.
Senator Fulton.
No.
Senator Gregory.
Abstain.
Senator Hahn.
No.
Senator Hurley.
No.
Senator Jimmy.
No.
Senator Johnston.
No.
Senator Klondike.
Abstain.
Senator Kiefer.
Yes.
Senator Brennan.
Yes.
Business Manager Parsons.
Abstain.
Vice President Hanley.
Abstain.
4 to 12 to 6.
Motion to impeach Senator Torello, Senator Johnson. We came back to her. Okay, the motion to impeach Senator Torello fails with 12 no votes, 6 abstentions, and 4 yes votes. I will now hand the chairship back to Senator Hanley. My reign of power is over.
All right, back to the meeting. So that ends unfinished business, and now we'll move to new business. Does anyone have any new business that they want to present tonight? 1 second. So everything thrown off. I got Anderson, and I got Darnell. Anyone else want to get on my speakers list? Cool, Anderson.
One resolution to RNA and the constitutional ad hoc regarding Article 6 referenda language.
So you wanted to go to both RNA and the constitutional ad hoc? Yeah.
And then we have follow. I have a second.
Yeah, can you give, just wait 1 second, sorry. That was Article 6?
I will write it down, yes.
Okay. And then, yeah, you can go ahead for your second one.
Okay, one resolution to the same two committees, so RNA and the constitutional ad hoc, amending the ballot language for Article 4.
Okay. Cool. And then you get, cool. I think we have both of those, so you can just go ahead with your mini description.
Oh, yeah, okay. So Article 6 is the board on government section in the Constitution. We didn't do this because of some changes coming through the pipeline, so we're just gonna, I said I was gonna introduce it in spring. As far as Article 4 goes, there is a line that has to be added that was not added in committee when we saw this last fall, that I will be amending and adding to it, regarding, again, the same tie-in for the student conduct code, those things.
Cool, Darnell.
One resolution regarding the renovation and expansion of the music building.
And just RNA?
Yes.
Cool. Anne Marie, we have that book. So. Okay, give her a second to write that down, and then I'll give you your option. Cool.
The music building at the university has had serious needs for renovation due to deferred maintenance issues for many years. Recently, it's become more of an issue, and now the music building is coming up on its reaccreditation, which somewhat depends on the renovation. This has been an issue that's been talked about with administrators and is currently being addressed and will also be addressed at the Board of Regents meeting in May. I feel like this is a perfect time to try to get students involved again. In general, a lot of music students are involved. Also, a survey last semester proved that, but there was no not a great response from the administration regarding that qualitative survey and student voices, especially with the responses from music. So this is somewhat of a response to that, as well as just good timing to write a solution for this.
Any other new business? Any more new business? Last call for new business. All right, seeing none, I will now entertain a motion to adjourn. Moved by Senator Fulton and seconded by Senator Terrell. Unanimous consent has been called. Is there any discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? Discussion or objection? All right, seeing none, motion to adjourn passes. We are adjourned at 8:30 p.m.
Very nice.